Greetings to another video. Today we're going to talk all about lighting setups for endurance riding, and also I'm going to talk a little bit about how to get over the fear of riding alone at night in the dark. So the first part is going to be getting over the fear of it, and then the second part of the video is actually the lighting setup. So I'm going to leave a little like timestamp here, so if all you want to know is the lighting setup, then you can just jump to that part of the video. So let's talk about the fear of riding at night in the dark on your own. I used to be genuinely really scared of it. So when I started doing overnight rides, I would always do them in an Audax, and I would hope that I was going to be riding in a group of people. It's 11 o'clock and we are heading out in all our warm gear now. This is the bit that I was most scared about because of night riding, but because it's a group it doesn't seem that bad, but it's going to keep going. We've got Steve Abraham with us, so what can go wrong, really? There's just something about the dark and being on country lanes, and so I would always make sure that I was with other people. And I realised the reason that I was scared was because my lights just weren't very good. They weren't particularly cheap lights, but they just weren't lighting enough of the road up. So I think that was why I always wanted to like ride with other people, so I felt like we had like a big joint beam, I guess, of light to kind of see the road. And that was like a real big factor for me and why I wanted to ride with other people. And it was on one particular Audax. It was like a country lane like this. It was really dark and it was steep and it was windy. My light was not doing, it was barely lighting up the road, and this guy at the side of me had this, I don't know what it, well I do know what it was now, but it was just this bright beam, and I was like, what on earth is that like? And I was trying to stick with him so I could actually see where I was riding, because I felt a lot more confident when obviously I had a lot more light. And I asked him, I was like, what light is that? And it was an exposure Strada light, and I was like, right, I need to get me one of those lights. So when I actually then got, and I'm going to show you my different light setups, when I actually got lights that were bright enough and that could light the road up, and I felt like people could see me better, because obviously safety is such a huge part of that took a lot of my fear away. And you wouldn't think that just having lights and different lights would do that. I thought it was more of like a mental thing for me, but it wasn't. For me, it genuinely was about being able to see more at night, which took a lot of the fear away. So I would suggest to you, if you are a little bit scared of riding alone, or just look at the light setup that you've got and can you actually see enough. And actually now that 400k that I did the night ride of it on my own, it was the nicest part of it. I don't know, I just feel a lot, I don't know, I almost feel safer at night because there's nobody out, there's hardly any cars on the road, and yeah, it's just one of my favourite parts of the ride. So now let's get on into the different lighting setups that you can have. The dynamo is in the hub. It's basically a way of generating power as you are riding. As the wheel's moving, it's generating power. And then what you would do is you can connect that up to a light. So the light is specifically a dynamo specific light. This light will not work if it's not plugged into a dynamo. And so the one that I've actually got is the Exposure Revo. And I've got to tell you this, I'm so excited because, dun dun dun, Exposure are now going to sponsor my channel for the next year. Honestly, Exposure lights are, you ask anybody in endurance riding, Audax riding, Exposure are the best lights you can possibly get. And they gave me the confidence to ride on my own at night. And they're UK made. They're just a really nice group of riders that just want to get out and ride bikes, and I'm totally with a company that is like that. So yeah, really excited about that. And they make the best lights ever. They're phenomenal. They're not cheap, but they are just brilliant lights. So yeah, this is the Exposure Revo, and that is connected, like I say, to the dynamo. And this one's also got an output, so I've got a cable running from that obviously to the dynamo, and I've also got a cable running to the back that powers the red eye, which is the rear light. So I'm just going to give you a quick example of it now. So once, and this is not going to be as bright as it gets because you have to be going, the faster you're going, the brighter it gets. This one is 800 lumens, so it's pretty bright. So if you spin that, obviously you can see that going. And the more you go, the brighter it gets. Also, it does the rear light. The rear light, I don't know how it keeps the power, but literally when I woke up the following morning from that 400, the rear light was still on. So for me, I just feel safe knowing that as long as I'm pedaling, the lights are going to be working. And it's a really light as well. It's not very heavy, and it can actually be mounted on the handlebars, or it can be mounted upside down, like underneath like a Garmin mount with like a GoPro fixture. So yeah, really, really good. The other setup that you can use is, I'll show you this one, dun, dun, dun. I'm going to take this one off. And that's another thing that I really like about exposure lights. They've got brilliant fittings. It's just like a little kind of pin that you just kind of pull down, slide on, and then you can put this one on. Hands are so cold. It is, if you can't tell, it's bloody freezing. This is summer in the UK for you. So this is the Exposure Strada. And this is just a battery power, so it's just a chargeable light. However, it is a monster. This can last between 2 and 36 hours. And it's 1500 lumens. It is so bright, and it's kind of got like a road. It's basically the technology based from the lighting of this. It comes from like how car beams work. So it's super bright. You can see ahead, you can see the road in front. It's just a phenomenal, again, just a brilliant light. And the main thing that I really like about this, and not many lights do it, is it's got 10 different modes, and each of those modes has got a high, a medium and a low setting. And on the back, so depending on how long you're going to be out, it tells you in minutes and hours how long you've got left of that battery, which again just takes a lot of the fear away of, you know, riding in the dark, riding through the night. You know how long you've got left, because I think before you kind of get little like amber lights or red lights telling you there's not much battery left, but by then it's like, what can you do? You don't actually know how many minutes, how many hours you've got left. So if you are wanting to do any overnight riding, then this is such a brilliant light. When you're getting into endurance riding, you need to be visible to other people, and you need to physically see where you're going. And for me, you've just got to invest, like you've just got to invest in decent lights. And these are honestly the best lights you're going to be able to get, and the most reliable. I've had no issues with that with the Revo. I've just started using the Strada, and they're just brilliant. Honestly, just brilliant pieces of kit that just work. So the rear light that I would use with that, obviously this is the dynamo version, so let's not talk about that. I'll take it off actually. So this is the Blaze rear light. Again, it's got different modes on there. So this goes between 6 and 48 hours. They're just brilliant pieces of kit. So they're the two main different light setups that I've got. So some of the pros and cons of each of the setups. So having a dynamo with a dynamo light, the pro of that is you are always going to have power. So as long as you're pedaling, you're going to be able to light your lights. I guess the downside of having a dynamo is obviously all the extra cables, the actual weight of the dynamo within the wheel. So yeah, some people might not want to have the faff of, you know, having cables and stuff attached to their bike. Whereas the second setup, which is the, you know, the Strada charger light, obviously the pros of that are it's just much simpler. You just kind of strap it on and go. But then again, the cons of that are it is eventually going to run out of power. So I guess it depends on what you want. And also, I guess with a dynamo, you can actually charge other things off it. So you can charge your Wahoo or your phone. So I guess it just depends how long you're away for, if you're going to have access to, you know, to charge up your, you know, your bike computer and your phone elsewhere. So yeah, they're just two different options for you to weigh up to see which one works best for you. And then the last set of lights that I take, so depending on whether I've got the Strada and the Blaze, or whether I've got the Revo and the Red Eye, I will always take these as backup. So these are the Trace and the Trace R, which are, the front one is 125 lumen, the rear is 75, and I just take them as backups just because for whatever reason, if they do cut out, I've never had any issues with them, but if they do, it's always just good to have a spare, and it's always good just to have extras just to be more visible. So yeah, that is the lighting setup that I use. And yeah, like I say, you need to invest in a decent set of lights that you're going to be visible, because I think that's the thing that I like about these, is especially when I've got the dynamo on, is that I know that that rear light is on, so I don't have to worry or think, you know, has the battery gone in it? I just know it's going to work and know that I'm going to be seen. And then the last part of my lighting setup isn't actually a light. It is this. This is a Provis switch gilet. This is phenomenal. This is what I always wear on night rides. It's not the sexiest piece of kit that's ever been made, but it just works and it's phenomenal. So at night I always wear this because when you get a car headlight on there, I glow like a glowworm. Like, it's all like reflective. And so I always wear this just as a safety thing as well. So I've got my lights, I've got my rear lights. That rear light as well can be seen, I think it's 1 kilometre away. So people are going to see me in the dark lanes, and that's what you need. You just want to be visible and you want to just be, seen. So yeah, recommend this jacket. Again, brilliant piece of kit for night riding. And I reckon that is pretty, oh God, I'm so cold though. It's chucking it down. I hope you know what I'm going through for this. I'm so cold and I'm in shorts and this is summer. But yeah, so I hope you found that video helpful. If you've got any questions about any of the lights, I'm going to leave all the links to them below, so if you want to go and have a look at them. But yeah, if you've got any other questions, then leave them in the comments below. But honestly, if you have got a fear of doing night riding, go and just do it, because I think the thought of it is way worse than it actually is. And now that's probably my favourite part of, you know, a 400 or a 600k ride is the night riding. So yeah, hope you found that helpful. I'm going to go and get dry and warm because I am freezing, and I will see you next video. I'll see you tomorrow for another video. It's so cold. Is it on?